With the filming of the second season of The Rings of Prime being finished, it is of course expected from the Shill media and the Shill websites to start putting out nonsensical articles like this one. Wes, hi, mein friend, and welcome to yet another video. And the moment that I have predicted is here, my dear friends. It was, of course, absolutely and altogether expected. Welcome to European Law, my dear friends, and please do look at the screen. What you can see is a headline to an article by ScreenRant.com, probably the biggest shill website out there, which with this article tops even the OneRing.net, I have to say. And the article says, is The Rings of Power more faithful to Tolkien's Lord of the Rings than the movies? It's harder than you think. And then they go into the full shill mode, and they first say that the Lord of the Rings movies were sticking to the books better, that they have better narrative, but The Rings of Power has a better tone. That's a more Tolkienian tone and atmosphere, which I almost had a laughing fit over it. And then they say that, none of it adapts Tolkien properly. Well, of course. I mean, we have known that for a long, long time. Those of us who have read the books, we know that, come on, I mean, there is no adaptation that would be 100% perfect. Although even us, the Tolkien purists, we have to admit that what Peter Jackson did is extraordinary. And that he managed to, he did, not Prime Video, but he did manage to capture the essence, and that he tried to stick to the source material where he could as closely as possible. Yes, yada yada, we are not here to analyze all the changes that Peter Jackson did to the movies. I have other videos about that. This is not a video for this. This is about what I have been talking about for a long time, and that is the purpose of The Rings of Power. And the sole purpose of The Rings of Power is just trying to make money somewhere for anybody. Let me say it in another way. It is there to be taken advantage of. 100%, saying it bluntly like this. Amazon Prime, they bought the rights for The Lord of the Rings, of which they decided to adapt just the appendices, or they just can adapt the appendices, which is, again, I am staggered at the stupidity of people and their decision to suddenly speak about the appendices to The Lord of the Rings as if they were something separate from the book. But yes, I mean, people are doing that today. Well, we adapt the appendices, yada yada yada. It's a chapter worth of notes at the end of The Lord of the Rings. So get really a nitwit. And so Prime Video did buy that so they can make a show that would bear the sacred name, so that it bears the name of one of the most popular and one of the most profitable, as they say, franchises or IPs, I just say stories, one of the most profitable stories in the history of both movie making and literature. It's simple money. Their biggest mistake was to make a shit show out of it. To make a show that is of a very poor quality, very badly written, CGI is mediocre, everybody is making fun of it. 100% full stop. If they made any profit, if they did or didn't, it's not for me to say right here in this video. So Prime Video is there for this. Now, all the shill media, all the websites, all the access media, as today's influencers call it, and also all the fan groups, quote unquote, all over the internet, both YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, are there to suck Amazon's D and to get that little bit of a clout that they can get out of it. So they can get early access to screenings, so they can get exclusive opportunities for interviews with some of the B or 2Z grade actors, so they can be invited to early screening of rough drafts in Oxford and get a bag of tchotchkes and little notebooks and keychains and things like that. And so they can get them clicks and likes for a period of a couple of months, which is true. When The Rings of Power came out last year, in September I think it was, there were certain groups and fan sites on the internet who, before that, had claimed that they are big Tolkien fans. Well, when they signed some sort of deal and contract with Prime Video, they turned 180 degrees, and they became bloody Grima Wormtongues. I have never said they are being paid money. Quite honestly, I don't think they are being paid money. I think they are being paid by clout and by attention and all those things that I've mentioned earlier. The problem is that this only lasts temporarily. So all those followers that they gained back then in September 2022 and a couple of months before that, because of course they had started shilling quite a while before the Rings of Prime came out. So they acquired some subscribers, some followers, so on and so forth. But The Rings of Prime is the very same as every single piece of entertainment that is being crapped out by Hollywood today. It is a fast food meal. Not very nourishing, not very tasty. It will stay around. It will stay in the focal point of the audience for a couple of weeks to months. At most a couple of months. One of the more controversial things will stay in the focal point for a couple of months. Otherwise, it's rather like a week or two. And so, right when The Rings of Power came out and when it finished, the last episode, the clock started ticking. And it only took about a couple of weeks for things to calm down, for people to just move on, for people to say, it was shit after all. Well, we can move on now. And because the second season has finished shooting, has finished recording, and is now, of course, I suppose, moving into post-production, the shill media are starting to crap out articles like that on a daily basis again. Because this is expected from them. If they want to get the same sort of advantages, if you want to call it like that they had before the release of Season 1, which is early access, special news, exclusive reveals, so on and so forth. Maybe even being invited to another early screening. And this time Season 2 was recorded in Britain, unfortunately. I'm sorry, my dear British friends, for your suffering. And so maybe they will be invited to Britain again. And maybe they will get this cloud for another couple of months. Because The Rings of Power is there to be taken advantage of. It has no artistic value. It has no cultural value. It has no emotional value. It has no spiritual value. It has no value at all. But that's the truth of the matter. And let me know in the comments down below what you think. And that'll be all. Thank you very much for watching. And I'm out of here.